Got Madison Valley. Here's my ID. I'm going to be comparing the differences between boys and girls and how they are raised. To start off, we're going to start off with a short video. It's about 2 minutes long.
To be a boy.
What does it mean to be a boy, in your opinion?
To be strong, to not cry.
To be tough. Athletic.
To be confident and to always keep your head up and be optimistic.
It doesn't just mean like you're born a boy, you are a boy.
You can switch genders and go to a girl if you're a boy.
Being a boy is a lot harder than some people may think.
Boys are told to play sports and be tough. So that's what a lot of people think it means, but I just think it means that you look different than girls do.
You may have different hair or different body parts.
I don't really know what it means to be a boy besides physical attributes. That's pretty much it.
You don't think there's anything else?
Like hormones.
Girls have different things on their bodies and have the advantage of different things, like being pregnant.
Besides anatomy, what's the number one thing that makes boys and girls different?
I just think that the way that people think they're supposed to be.
Whatever like your stereotype is, you watch sports, you're rough and aggressive and whatever.
Girls, they play with dollies, and boys, they play rough. A lot of my friends that are girls don't even like dolls. In fact, they're scared of them, and they'd rather play in the dirt.
Most boys think girls are all about makeup, dresses, and sleepover parties and stuff.
Some people think girls are just baby-making machines that stay at home and...
So after watching the video, we have come to realize that stereotypes are taught at a very young age between young boys and girls. Some are taught to be tough and hide their. Some boys are taught to be tough and hide their emotions, and some girls are taught to act like a lady and always be polite. Girls are also taught that if a boy likes you and he's going to be mean to you, and that's can be harmful. These things that are shoved into children's minds at a very young age can be harmful for when they grow older into their teenage and adulthood years. I want to make it clear that this is in regards to some boys and some girls, not all. Everybody's raised differently based on their parenting skills, their gender, who's raising them, their culture, all that sort of stuff.
To be a boy.
So stereotypes. According to Dr. Robin, when an adult says girls like dolls or boys like baseball, they are expressing what is known as descriptive stereotype, which is general patterns about gender, as opposed to prescriptive stereotype, which is behavioral norms that individuals are expected to uphold. Prescriptive stereotype would then be an idea that male children should be strong and shouldn't cry, and that female children should be gentle and compliant. According to the Atlantic, these ideas stick with the children as they get older. The article states, parental attitudes towards their children have a strong impact on the child's developing sense of self-esteem and self-esteem, with parental warmth and support being key factors for each child. So to start out, we're going to start out with how some boys are raised. This would be some stereotypical boys' toys, trucks, boats, trains, all that kind of stuff. Some expectations of boys are to be strong, adventurous, practical, rough, a leader, non-emotional. Boys don't cry. They like to get dirty. They're not really focused on princes or make-believe. Their gender roles in society, they're thought to be more physically tall and strong, more aggressive. Being more aggressive is acceptable. They need to be willing to always be the hero and put themselves in harm's way to help somebody else or another woman. Their chores that they may lead more towards outdoor work, like snow blowing, mowing the lawn, or any other kind of yard work. Treatment-wise, there's wage gaps, and just general treatment of men. I've seen personally, myself be treated better than another female I may be with. And now we're going to get into how some girls are raised. This would be a stereotypical girl's toy, a baby doll. girls' expectations are to be more sensitive, emotional, physically fragile, more caring. Some focus more on their appearance and how they look, makeup. They tend to be more gentle or proper or ladylike. That's how they're taught to be. Don't raise your voice at a man, or don't know your role in society. Basically, in social aspects, their toys are more like baby dolls, babies, dolls, cooking, cleaning, princesses, arts and crafts, etc. Just more traditional girly things are acceptable. Their roles in society, they have a higher value on appearance and being pretty. They're very complimentary, and people want them to be polite at all times, to be doing what is expected from them from male figures in their lives. Their chores are going to sometimes more consist of activities like cooking, cleaning, laundry, etc. And their treatment in society is the same as boys, but kind of the opposite. There's a wage gap. They could be treated as less than in society by not only men. Women treat other women down as well. It goes both ways. Now we're going to get into some effects that some children can have from gender stereotypes, their risks. The short-term and long-term effects of being raised differently based on gender, according to the article titled Parenting Boys versus Girls, How Different Is It? For girls, the risk of gender stereotypes can include child marriage, pregnancy, leaving school early, sexually transmitted diseases or infections, exposure to violence from either boyfriends or other male figures in their lives. But this isn't just for girls. Boys suffer too. It does go both ways. They have increased risk of substance abuse, suicide, and shorter life expectancy than women, solely based on them having to hide their emotions and feel like they always need to be on top of things, more masculine. Don't cry, etc. Some boys or some men describe that how they felt when they were boys is having the freedom to come and go as they pleased, to pursue education and other opportunities more easily than girls. Girls found their mobility and access to education restricted. The study notes, as they enter adolescence, silence and modesty are instilled in women as desirable values, as girls are pressed to behave in a more modest fashion. Another important factor is that socially it is more acceptable with parents and peers for girls to be a tomboy, and for the opposing gender, for men, it's not as accepting to be less masculine or want to play with dolls or makeup or any of that sort, more gender stereotype of female stuff. Once puberty hits, things are a lot different. A lot of different factors come into play. A big one is sex. Some girls are taught to cover up and stay away from boys, while some boys are taught to go out and play the field. And I have seen in my own experience a lot of us guys be treated like kings for being with girls, while girls are treated unfairly and slut shamed or whatever if they are intimate in any way and it comes out with a male. In conclusion, it is hard to argue that girls and boys aren't treated differently in society, just solely based off their gender and nothing else. While there are pros and cons, it goes both ways. It is important to remember that society does have a long way to go, and equality can be possible if we're willing to do that. If we're willing to take the leap and understand the boundaries that need to be set when raising boys and girls, I think it can be done. It's probably still far away in our future, but we definitely have come a long way in 50 years and even the last 5 years when it comes to gender and the difference gender plays in society. I mean, we now have President-elect Joe Biden, and we have our first female vice president who's not only just a woman but also a woman of color, which is great and definitely something that wouldn't have even happened 10 years ago. So does anybody have any questions?
Yes. Do all families raise their children differently?
Yes, because a lot of different aspects come into play. Like I said before, culture, who's raising the kid, whether it's grandparents, a single mother, single father, it really all varies. Every kid is based differently. Again, I want to really stress this is not all kids, this is just some kids. Some kids are affected by gender stereotypes, not all.
Okay. How could we possibly fix this so there is more equality when raising both genders?
I think education is a huge aspect in this. I myself have been ignorant in some of the things that I've thought, again, when looking for, I'm doing this whole project on gender stereotypes, and what do? I find boys' toys and girls' toys. I'm stereotyping that. Everybody does it, but I do think with more education and more openness, this can be changed. Again, it's probably never going to be completely equal, because that's just not how society works. Everybody has different opinions, but I do think, again, we're a growing society. We've grown so much. We have a woman in the office now. It is possible to grow as a society together, but there will always be ignorant people that don't agree with that.
And my last question, is it bad or inappropriate to raise children differently if it is only based upon their gender?
That could vary. In my opinion, I don't think that is necessarily bad, because it does prepare them for the outside world, but I do think that it is potentially harmful for when they are older, because, again, like I said, boys can't show emotions sometimes. Some girls, if they wear the wrong thing at a party and they get assaulted, they were asking for it, and I don't think that that's okay, because, I think that we need to treat boys, this whole, boys will be boys, isn't always good to be taught, or that, boys that are mean to you like you, because that's why there are issues, is because boys and girls are taught from young ages that this is a boy's role and this is a girl's role, and that's the only way that it should be. And I think that we need to put that together and say that it's okay for boys to play with baby dolls, because boys can someday become parents and they need to know how to raise a child. It's okay for girls to play with trucks. One day they could have a truck and drive. So I don't think that is necessarily bad, but I do think that it can change. And that's it.